Canada is an Arctic nation, and we are at a critical moment. The Arctic is no longer a low-tension region. We live in a tough world, and we need to be tougher in our response. And that's why today I'm pleased to launch Canada's new Arctic foreign policy. We'll continue to assert Canada's sovereignty, including over the Northwest Passage. Diplomacy and defense go hand in hand. We will make sure to increase our cooperation with our Arctic allies and NATO.
Some of the reasons why Canada needs a new approach to its Arctic are environmental, frankly. Climate change is changing the nature of Arctic shipping. It is changing the nature of Arctic resource development. It is changing the lifestyle for the peoples of the North, and the politics of the North also changing. In 2024, we understand better how important it is to have a northern policy that is shaped with the perspectives of the people of the North, not something that is based on a North-South relationship where people who don't live in the North make decisions that ultimately gravely impact the Indigenous people and others in the territories.
What was clear from the meeting between the Prime Minister and President-elect Trump was that the Arctic was really important for the U.S. and that the upcoming administration sees our work on the Arctic in a very favorable way. What also the upcoming administration is very concerned about, and President-elect Trump was concerned about during his first term, was the lack of icebreakers production and the fact that we were not doing as much as Russia and China.
An aspect of this new plan will be to have a consulate in Anchorage, Alaska, very much focused on working with the Americans in this space. There's discussion in the strategy of negotiations over, frankly, a disputed territory in the Beaufort Sea, unclear between Canada and the U.S. exactly where to draw the line. This could become significant. We know there's oil and gas under the Beaufort Sea. This is going to emerge as climate change progresses, as more and more an issue in resource development between the two countries. But as we consider the role of militarization in the kind of development plans that people may have for the North, you also have to consider the perspectives of the people who live there.
I grew up in the shadow of the militarization of the Arctic. The infrastructure in those communities was built for the militarization of the Arctic, largely World War II and Cold War era. The decisions about not only those communities, but all the dew-line sites, all of the infrastructure that exists across Inuit Nunangat was made independent of our democracies, was made without consideration of the impact upon us.
This plan includes a new Arctic ambassador that will be based somewhere in the North. Interesting to see whether that person is also Indigenous. That came up at the newser, although nothing specific was announced on that front.